my name is Caroline. I'm a health coach with Orion, and I'm also a flexibility specialist. Today what we're going to do is go over some of the equipment for flexibility. A lot of people don't think you need the equipment, but it's a lot easier to get into some of those stretches if your range of motion isn't quite there yet. Remember, flexibility it comes in millimeters. It is not a huge progression at a lot of times, so you have to dedicate a lot of time to your practice, but that's okay. That's why we're here, is to improve and to make some progress. So we'll go over the equipment. We're going to focus on a little bit of our upper body as well as our lower body, just the very basics. This is the kindergarten of stretching if you want to get started. So let's get started. All right, let's talk about those bands I had mentioned earlier. So this one's a TheraBand. You notice that it stretches just quite a bit. These are great if you're trying to strengthen anything. You could attach it to a door, straighten, so you could do a lot of upper body work and lower body work with this. This is actually not my favorite for flexibility. Great for strength conditioning, not so great on the flexibility end, just because a lot of the time if you need to pull something a certain way, there's a lot of give here, so you won't get as much as you're looking for. So I'll put this down to the side. Now this other band that I have right here, this nice purple one, I got at a department store for $5 or $6. It has this nice little metal clip. It adjusts, and this is for your legs, hamstrings, or anything, so I'm just going to show you real quick. So if you lay on your back and I flex my foot and hook this over my foot, you can lay flat on it and pull it towards your face. Now, the nice thing is that it adjusts. It's for all size. The metal part is not too much comfortable, but my foot would be on the opposite end of that. So that's something you can utilize as well. Like I said, I got that at a department store. Now this is the golden standard of stretching bands. There definitely are other ones out there. So don't think, I don't want to guide you in the wrong direction, but this one's my personal favorite. Notice that it has a lot of different loops. It has a little bit on this side where it has a little bit of give, and this side where there's none. So again, you can hook that on your foot. The more flexible you get, you can walk your hands in the loops. So this is a fantastic tool that you want to utilize. I'll put that right here. Now next is blocks. Blocks must have if you are starting and if you are advanced. Now, these are for stability. You don't want to fall over and think, hey, I don't have a lot of balance, I wobble quite a bit. It happens quite a bit, so it's nice to have these. So if I do a kneeling lunge, which we're going to be doing some of these in today's workout, I do a kneeling lunge, I drop my hip forward, and instead of trying to find my balance or putting my hand on my knee, I can utilize those blocks to keep me nice and stable so I don't fall over during the stretch. Now, if you're more advanced, if you're doing splits, you can stack these, put your foot on it into an over split. Now, if you don't have blocks, you can use this awesome book. You know, it's nice and thick. Put the binding down. You get the same effect. I definitely suggest blocks, but these work pretty well too. Now this one right here is called a Dharma wheel. This is one of my favorite things. I highly suggest getting one if you can. Now this is great if you have lower back pain, if you're hunched over at your work desk all day. It's pretty simple. You put it down, you sit, and you put it in the center of your back, and all you do is lean on it. And if you're more comfortable, you can start walking back. It forces a nice arch in your back. It's stable, and it's comfortable. Okay. So next are the types of mats that you can use. Now this mat I have right here, it's nice and thick. I personally like my mats thicker. They are terrible for balance. So if you're doing any tree poses, this is not the mat for you. But since we're going to be on our knees a lot, like that kneeling lunge I had mentioned earlier, it gives nice, great padding for that knee so it doesn't hurt in that stretch. This mat right here is a basic yoga mat. It's very thin, Great for balance. You can use them to put a little bit of padding if you fold them over for your knees. But me personally, I have both, and I use this one all the time. Now, the last thing on my equipment list is my handy-dandy timer. Without this, you'd probably be holding stretch for 5 minutes if I wasn't paying attention. So I highly suggest getting a stopwatch or just a timer or alarm to go off when you're stretching because it's very helpful. So that is the basics of what we can use here. There's a lot more equipment out there. So please send in comments or anything if you're looking for more ideas. All right, now that we've gone over the type of equipment, we're going to jump right into it. So we're going to start with a little bit of a warm-up before we get started. So we're going to do arm circles forward. Probably do these for about 10, 15 seconds. You really want to engage your upper body. And while you're doing this, you want to squeeze your scapula together. Think about pinching your elbows back. It'll force your scapula together. Now go back. Now we're going to do a lat pull down without actually having a cable set up. So you grab up, pull down here. So here we're again squeezing that scapula, utilizing the upper back. So we want to get a couple of these in here. Nice. Okay, perfect. So with legs, a lot of the time I like to do kicks. So you just do kick up, kick back, probably just 10. Switch sides. So just forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. 9, 10. All right, perfect. So it's just a nice getting a little bit loose before we start getting into everything. So the first stretch we're going to do is a nice neck stretch. So we're just going to take your neck down, roll it to the side. Now when I come to the side, I have this nice little trick. Stick your arm out, look at the ground, and shake your head no. You'll feel a nice pull right up here. So we're going to go to the other side, this side, look down, arm out, shake your head no. Nice. So that one's pretty quick and easy. So, baby Egyptians. These get more intricate as we get more advanced, but we're starting at the very basic today. So, what you're going to do is I always start with my glutes out so I can remind myself that I need to tuck my pelvis in. Nice and tight. Tighten up your core. And what you're going to do is start with your arms high and drop your shoulders back. We're going to bring our elbows back and try and touch your elbows together. This is it. So we just hold for 30 seconds. Now, we're going to do that. I'm going to use my handy-dandy timer to keep track. So here we go. So tuck in, tighten, arms up, drop shoulders, roll back, and go. So you really want to squeeze your scapula. Think about bringing your chest out. This will really help that stretch. So you're working on upper back. If you're sitting at a desk all day, this is perfect for you. I'm going to rotate. So you can walk around while you're doing this if you want. A couple more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Nice. That's it. Pretty easy. I probably suggest doing maybe 3 sets of those at home when you're doing your own practice. It really helps loosen up that upper back. Now, what we're going to do is a pec stretch on the wall. We're going to put your arm flat on the wall, and you're going to turn your body away so you get this nice pull right here. Now, when you're stretching, you only want to go to the point of discomfort. So put it here. We're going to turn, 30 seconds, and go. Nice. So you can do it 2 different ways. You can use it with a straight arm. You can go to a bent arm if your arms don't quite go that way. You always feel free to modify if you're not at this level, 100%. So we're here, we have about 10 more seconds left to go, and then we're gonna flip to the other side so that we're equal. And that's a huge thing part of stretching is don't just do one side, we wanna do both. So we're done with that one. Now we're gonna, remember, hand flat, we turn the body away. So flat, rotate that torso, and we're going. Nice, juicy pull. Again, you can bend, you can straighten, depending on what you're looking for. You can play with this quite a bit. Now, the fun thing about this stretch is you don't have to just do it on the wall. You can use a door frame. You can use a table if you have a higher one. It just needs to be something that's stable that you can do this. And this is great if you're working outside, you're swinging things around, lifting things, and done. Perfect. Timer doesn't want to work today. Okay. Now, the last one we're going to do for upper body is a standing wall stretch. So this is going to focus on your shoulders and your back. Now, this one, we're going to come over to the wall. You're going to place both hands flat on the wall. Now, depending on your level is how far back you want to walk your feet. But for today's purposes, we're going to keep them a little bit higher than our head. Take a step back, and you're going to drop your chest towards the floor. Now, my head's going to disappear for a second because you'll notice that my head's going between my arms. So, here we go. Drop it. Notice I'm trying to get my chest down. My glutes are in the air. I'm feeling this nice stretch throughout my shoulders. You probably want to do 2 sets of these. Ultimately, when stretching, the key is it takes about 30 seconds for your body to be warm enough to hold a stretch, and then you want to hold it for 30 seconds longer. So about a minute that you want to do when you're doing that stretch. So that concludes the upper half. Nice and sweet. What we're going to do now is we're going to do some butterfly stretches. Now, you might remember these from school, but they're great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a seat. My back is against the wall, and I'm going to put my feet together. Now I'm going to sit up straight, heels together, and I'm going to push my knees towards the ground. It's really a nice, good hip opener stretch. And ladies, this is great because the number one type of injury for women is something to do with your hips. So here we go. Now push down. Breathe through the stretches. This one's a little uncomfortable, I'm not going to lie. So breathe through it. The more advanced you get, you can start sitting on blocks against the walls. The goal is to get your knees to touch the floor. Only a couple more seconds, so deep breath. And done. And come out. Pretty easy. Nice. I feel open. I feel great. We're going to take that a little bit further. Instead of pressing our knees down, we're going to lay forward on top of our legs now. So this will take it more into the groin muscles a little bit. So we're going to lean forward, nice and comfortable, and go. Again, my head is disappearing because I'm trying to get my head to the floor. I'm not trying to reach my head to my toes. A lot of us know that from when we were younger. They're like, smell your toes. Tell us how stinky they are. But in reality, we want to go forward. Nice. Feel that nice deep stretch. Breathe. 2, 1, and done. Beautiful. So the next thing we're going to do is a hamstring stretch standing. So a lot of you who can't reach your toes, this is the stretch for you. So we're going to bend at the waist and reach down. Now, this one's pretty easy. You just got to reach. So I'm going to start this and explain a few things. If you cannot touch your toes, don't feel bad. Start putting your hands on your legs and work it down as far as you can go. Now when you can start getting farther, reach down If you feel really comfortable in this position, I want you to grab behind and think about getting your nose to your shins. And hold it, and done. And come back up. You probably want to do that one a couple of times. We don't want to be the people who bend over to pick up some keys and have a hamstring snap. That's not fun. So the last one, we're going to utilize our blocks. Oh, not the last one, second to last, excuse me. We're going to go into a kneeling lunge position. Now, big thing is my hips are square. Right now they're not. One's forward and one's back. But when we square up, you want to touch your hips and see if they're in one straight line. We're going to drop this hip flexor towards the floor. And notice my knee is not over my heel. This is not right. This is correct. So we want to do that for 30 seconds and go. So get nice and comfortable. The fun thing is you can play a lot in this pose. If you feel a little bit more comfortable, you can start arching back and putting a little bit of the back flexibility in there. You can sort of look side to side, and you can feel how it turns from one muscle group to the other. Just make sure you hold it, because that was me opening my hip. Almost done. Keep it there, and out. Perfect. So the very last stretch, we're going to use no equipment. You can use your mat. You don't have to. I don't particularly like to use my mat in this. We're going to do a downward dog calf stretch. Now, one thing I forgot to mention earlier is we are all shaped different. Some of us are tall. Some of us are short. We're just all over the place. So our system and our setup is just different. So if you don't feel something, you might have to play with it and modify just a tad bit. And this is one of those stretches where you have to do that. So we're going to put our hands forward and flex your toes, feet up. Go to the downward dog position. Now my goal is to get this heel to the floor. So I'm going to put most of my body weight there. Now I'm only going to do 15 seconds on each side. So notice I put this leg on top of the other one to hold this position, because I can get a better stretch there. Okay, we're going to switch sides now. Switch other leg, play with it. Now again, if you're taller, maybe you like to be a little bit more in to get a better stretch. Or maybe you like to be a little bit more farther out. You're going to have to play with it and see what you like best. And done. So that concludes today's stretching session. I hope you all enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you again in our second video.